Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here, and like I promised, all week I was basically doing like a slime engine god deck. I featured all three of the ancient Egyptian gods in a fairly similar build each time, and I kind of wanted to go over some of the base combos to let you guys in on like what it is that really made these decks pop. And I'd like to start with the Winged Dragon of Raw's slime engine because it was different. I was using Perform Mage and Mathematician. So really, it's like these three cards right here. And so really, you want to be able to try to do Guardian Slime's effect on your own terms, because by being able to board Guardian Slime real quick, we're going to be able to get straight into our Egyptian God Slime, which is one of our ways in. Another one of our ways into that would obviously be our Metal Reflect Slime. So both of these are going to count as the 10-star 0 attack point Aqua that's going to allow us to go straight into God Slime. But like the one thing that we were able to do with Raw, because I had a couple more spaces open, was actually use Mathematician and Perform Mage Trick Clown, which on their own can lend you to being able to play a couple more links with the Winged Dragon version. Unless, of course, you guys want to try to swap these into the Slifer and or Obelisk builds, which would be fine too. Again, we maximized Guardian Slime in all three builds. I do believe I was running my Reflect Slime at 2 in all three builds. And for the most part, the God Slime was always at 3 in my extra decks. So the real interaction here is that Mathematician's going to go ahead and Foolish Burial a level 4 lower out of your deck. That's going to mean that you could toss the Trick Clown, and since it was sent to the graveyard, you could target himself while he's in the graveyard, special summon him at 0, and then you take 1,000 damage. And it's the taking damage that's going to allow us to generate our Guardian Slime. And again, we could just immediately go from this Guardian Slime into the Egyptian God Slime. Now, there's another way that you could do this, and I sort of missed the timing, because I came up with the card, and then I said like 3 of the wrong names while I was doing the profile. We can actually do this without Mathematician too. So if you just ended up with these 2 cards in your hand, another move that we can do, and again, it's going to build our board slightly, is we're going to be able to play the Perform Mage Trick Clown as our normal summon, send it to the graveyard to link into Artemis. I believe I said Selene and Serena and something else, but I did want the link 1 for Magistus, because it's just any level 4 lower spellcaster, which our Trick Clown is. And again, this action here will send the Trick Clown from field to the discard. Since it was sent to the discard, we could go ahead, we could board it. And since we boarded that, we're going to take the damage and still be able to generate our Guardian Slime. So again, this will allow you just a couple of plays. And again, if you did this off of the Mathematician, you're not going to end up needing the Artemis. Artemis is something to just chill in the extra deck. Again, since we were using a lot of the extra deck as pot of fodder most of these 3 videos, that's going to be one generic way to actually accelerate your slime plays. Now, once you've gotten into slime, regardless of how many other cards you have, and whether or not you're using the Metal Reflect to do it, this is going to generate our Egyptian God Slime as a special summon, and this will allow us to then use it as the full 3 tributes. And so that's always cool. And then when we're doing this and we're sending the Guardian Slime away, additionally, we're able to get any card that lists Winged Dragon of Raw in the text. The biggest one we want is actually going to be Ancient Chant. Now, Ancient Chant was used in all of these decks. Most of the time, I was using it as a way to maintain hand presence by being able to call Winged Dragon of Raw from the deck or the discard back to my hand. And in Slifer, this was actually very necessary because, again, Slifer's ability is mostly based on how many cards are actually in your hand. Additionally, the Ancient Chant immediately acts like double summon. So if you didn't want to run double summons, or you wanted a double summon that would maintain hand presence, this was better with Slifer. And of course, it was great with the Winged Dragon of Raw. And when you're dealing with Obelisk, it just gave you another boss level god card to go in and play. But again, this was all sort of intermixed. Unlike the other 2 god cards, we didn't really get an attack card for Winged Dragon of Raw, so I was really using my Ancient Chant for that. And I didn't really see anything that sparked joy when I was looking through some of the older cards from Rage of Raw. So there was that. One more thing that was just amazing was the card advance true name strategy. So with card advance, you stack the top 5 cards of your deck your way because it's a look and rearrange. This additionally lets you get another tribute summon, and doing that again lets you board your god cards much easier. True name is also very usable to search out your other Egyptian god cards as well. When you play the true name, you're declaring a card name, excavating the top card of your deck, and if you called it right, you get to add that to your hand. Then you can add to your hand or special summon a divine monster from the deck. So you could special summon Slifer and Obelisk. There is no restriction on those two. There is a restriction on Raw. Raw can't be special summoned. I do believe there are like 2 cards that really work around this. I think Sphere Mode lets you do it. I think Phoenix Form lets you do it. And I want to say it was something Revelations. Millennium Revolution or something like that. And it allows you to play Winged Dragon of Ra with Monster Reborn. But I did not choose to run that. So with True Name, you could choose to either add your Divine Beast, again allowing you to get access to either of the 3 here, or again special summon one of these 2. And again, Slifer, this works out really good for Slifer. It works out all right for Obelisk. It was pretty cool. It's fun. It's got some interplay. Again, one of the best generic cards that was released was the Soul Crossing, which allows us to use any number of our opponent's monsters to go ahead and go into our god cards. And additionally, if you were tagging this up with the Ancient Chant for the Winged Dragon of Ra, not only could you use all your opponent's monsters, we can do the Ancient Chant to get the Winged Dragon of Ra to our hand, banish it in the discard pile, and then when we do tribute our opponent's monsters, we do get those points to Winged Dragon of Ra. Very similar to what we could have done if we used the Egyptian God Slime. We can actually get some stats on Ra well before trying to even contemplate whether or not we want to use the point-for-point transfer effect, possibly creating an overpowered closer to like 10,000 point. I think the most consistent build was I did like Perform Age Trick Clown, knocked myself down to 7. Played the Egyptian God Slime, used that as my tribute, so I got a Raw worth 3,000, and then was able to transfer the other 6,900 life points to get a 9,900 point Winged Dragon of Ra, which was fantastic. But this could be very variable based on what your opponent actually has. And you may actually hit a lot harder than I did, which would, again, just be fantastic. Another one of the things that was really cool was the Reactor Slime. Again, just usable based on being able to have, like, I had 9 cards between Soul Crossing, Card Advance, and with the Winged Dragon of Ra, Ancient Chant, that were just letting me get the additional summon off. And based on that, Reactor Slime could just summon, spawn the tokens, and go straight into God card of your choice. Again, I think it was better with Obelisk and Slifer than it is Raw, but again, I wanted to use the slime engines for everything. Yeah, it sort of cut down my build's times, but it doesn't really affect it one way or the other. Another thing is the amount of spells we were using. A lot of these cards were like 1 per turn. So like if I was playing Slifer and Obelisk, the Fist of Fate and Thunder Force Strike, or Thunder Force Attack. These 2 spells are once per turn. Soul Crossing is once per turn. True Name is once per turn. Ancient Chant is once per turn. Pot of Duality, Pot of Prosperity, and Pot of Extravagance are all once per turn. And knowing that eventually you're going to brick, you're going to get 2 cards of the same at some point, or one of them that you don't actually need to complete the strategy. This allows us to play Tellus, go ahead and link into Almirage. You get to generate your Tellus token, and then by banishing this in the discard pile plus one of those spells from your hand, like the True Name, we can also generate the additional 2. And what this allows you to do quite effectively for just about everybody but Obelisk, because again, he couldn't be targeted anyway. This allows you to go into either God card, Just pick a god card, whatever the flavor of the day was. And there he is. And you have your 3 tributes back here, but additionally what you have is you have Al Mirage going ahead and being able to quick effect tribute itself off to make one of your god cards, not Obelisk, untargetable, because you do actually have to target the card. So even though Obelisk is already target proof, you couldn't even target him to give him the protection he already has, which is redundant. But again, this makes for a very good Slifer build, and I feel like the scales have switched. Obelisk was always seemingly the best god card, and again, it was because he came untargetable, and he always had onboard stats you could just bank on. But I do believe that again, we're going to lose 2 cards from our hand because we're gonna play the Duelist and we're going to lose a spell card. But we're still going to be able to get Slifer at near full power. Again, counting Slifer out, that's 3 cards out of your hand. That's like a 2,000 point Slifer. That's fine. Still going to clean up, still do some stuff. And one of the things that made Slifer the best here is because when anytime the opponent's going to start special summoning in attack position or normal summoning in attack position, we get to minus 2,000 off the stat. And if we get to zero that stat out, we do blow up the card. And there are a ton of decks like Dragon Links that require a lot of these smaller cards to be played first. And this just makes Slifer a very control aspect and almost the best of the Ancient Egyptian God cards today. But that's like the whole Duelist thing. I think everybody kind of understands why Al Mirage is so standout for this. Let me get these 3 off the field here. Which really leaves like the last 2 cards, which were the Fist of Fate and Thunder Force Attack. Now, let's go by my least favorite first. Fist of Fate was kind of cool. These are both like spell speed 4, so they give the 2 other god cards like some crazy cool control aspect. Plus, they're both quick plays, which means we could do these during the opponent's turn for interruptions. Fist of Fate, if you had Obelisk, you go ahead and negate the effects of an effect monster the opponent controls, and if you do, destroy it. And if you do that, the effects of that monster are negated, as well as the activated effects and effects on the field of monsters with the same original name, which is a whole bunch of way of saying, like, if you're playing multiple cards with the same name, I'm going to pop and blow that one up. There's no way it can protect itself. And that additional one over there also has no effects. If you do this during your own turn, too, you do get, during the main phase, then you also get a Feather Duster effect, which is fantastic. And Thunder Force Attack, much better. Most of the same stuff. You got to control Slifer. Destroy as many face-up monsters the opponent controls as possible. Then if you activated this during your main phase, for each one that you destroyed that actually goes to the graveyard, this way they can count out tokens, you get to draw cards equal to the number. So this is a potential draw 1 to 6. Well, technically 0 to 6. But you're probably always going to be destroying 1 card that goes to the discard pile. Which again, even though you may have overextended a little bit to play Slifer, this allows you to bounce your hand straight back up. One of the major things with the Thunder Force Attack that you didn't see with the Fist of Fate is Thunder Force Attack doesn't interact well with Pot of Extravagance or Prosperity, because this would be a draw cards effect. But that's it. That's really all like the little ins and outs that you really need to know. Again, Artemis is a great way if you're going to use Trick Clowns. And again, you could just add that to all of the other decks. It is something I'm more familiar and more apt to playing when I'm playing Raw than when I was playing Slifer or Obelisk, but that doesn't mean it can't work. And again, Artemis is just another great way of doing the whole thing. So I do hope that you guys enjoyed it. If, again, this helps you, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button and letting your friends know about the channel. But the most important thing to me is that you guys had some fun and have a great day. So I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.